You ever have one of those neighbors who just doesn't get it? Who looks right at a fence, or a sign, or even your face, and still decides your boundaries don't apply to them? Yeah, that was me last spring. My name's Jack Mercer, and I live on the edge of a small town called Pine Hollow, where folks still wave from their trucks and mind their own business. My wife Laura and I run a little family farm, corn, beans, some cattle, and we've been here long before the shiny subdivision popped up next door. They call it Maple Ridge Estates, which is funny because the only thing growing there is gossip and resentment. It all started with Claudia Whitmore, the new HOA president. Perfect hair, pink SUV, and a personality like vinegar poured on baking soda. The first time I saw her, she was cutting straight across my field, tires chewing up 20 rows of young corn, like it was her personal shortcut to civilization. I remember standing there on my porch, coffee in hand, thinking, nah, she must have taken a wrong turn. So I waved. She waved back, laughed, and just kept driving. A few days later, she did it again. Same time, same spot, pink blur of entitlement. By the third time, it was a schedule. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 p.m. sharp, right through the field like it was her private racetrack. I put up signs, big red ones that said private property, and no trespassing, crop damage is a felony. I even added a please at the bottom because my mama raised me polite. Next Tuesday, I watched her slow down, read the sign, laugh out loud, and drive around it. That laugh, sharp, barking, carried all the way across the field. That was the moment something in me started to boil. I went inside, told Laura, and she just shook her head. That woman thinks the whole world's her driveway, she said. Well, I muttered, some driveways bite back. We tried being decent. I even spent 2 weekends building a proper gravel lane right along the edge of the field so my tractor could pass without touching her fancy street. I figured, maybe if I make it easy for her to do the right thing, she will. You can guess how that went. The next morning, tire tracks, fresh ones, veered right off the new lane and tore straight through my corn again. She'd done it on purpose. It wasn't about time anymore. It was about control. Laura did some digging, literally and legally. Turns out there's an agricultural easement running through that edge of our land, an old county rule meant for emergency access. We can't block it completely, but that doesn't mean she's allowed to use it as her personal shortcut. The law said it had to stay passable, didn't say it had to stay comfortable. That's when the idea came. The forecast said heavy rain was coming, 3 to 4 inches overnight. I looked at the field, the slope, the way the water pooled, and thought, all right, Claudia, let's see how much you love cutting corners now. That night, in the downpour, I took the tractor out. Laura stood on the porch shaking her head, but she knew better than to stop me. I reshaped the land. Nothing illegal, nothing dangerous, just good OL drainage work. A few gentle dips, a shallow channel, guiding the rainwater exactly where I wanted it. If any inspector came by, they'd call it erosion control. I called it poetic justice. By sunrise, the rain had stopped, the sky clear as glass, and that path, her path, looked like a harmless puddle. Underneath, though, it was a soup of black, sticky mud. 4 o'clock rolled around. Right on schedule, that pink SUV came humming down the road. Laura had the trail cam set up on the fence post, live feed playing on her laptop. We were sipping coffee like it was movie night. Claudia slowed down, hesitated between the clean gravel lane and the muddy shortcut, then smirked and turned the wheel. 10 feet in, fine. 15, oh. 20, and the car just stopped. The back tires spun, mud flying like a fountain. She gunned it again. The engine roared, the car sank deeper. She opened the door, stepped out, white sneakers straight into ankle-deep muck, and let out a scream that could peel paint. I shouldn't have laughed, but I did. It wasn't cruelty, it was satisfaction. A simple equation, action, consequence, mud. Then she called a tow truck. Of course she did. About 30 minutes later, I heard the rattle of diesel. A truck pulled up, rusty, loud, the kind that looked one pothole away from falling apart. The door read Marty's 24-hour recovery. Out climbs Marty himself, beard, belly, and a shirt 2 sizes too small. Claudia points at the car, yelling something about her property rights. I walked out to the edge of my lane, calm as can be. Afternoon, I said. You can back down this gravel path. It's solid and safe. Please stay off the crop side. Marty looked at the lane, then at me. Yeah, no? I'm going straight in. Shortest way's the best way. You'll tear up my field. He smirked. Shootin' V parked a car in it then. He got in, slammed the door, and drove straight into the mud. The truck sank almost instantly. He floored it, and my field erupted. Deep ruts, torn corn, even snapped one of my irrigation pipes. Water started bubbling up. Stop, I yelled, running forward. You're destroying my land. He climbed out, towering over me. Lady's paying me, he said, puffing his chest. Get out of my way before you get hurt. Then he shoved me. You ever get shoved in your own mud? There's something about that. It hits deeper than the push itself. I got up slow, wiped the grit from my face, and said quietly, You just made the biggest mistake of your night. We fought. Not pretty, not Hollywood. Just two muddy men slipping and wrestling under the headlights of a dying tow truck. Laura was already on the porch, phone in hand, calling the sheriff. By the time the sirens came wailing, we both looked like swamp monsters who lost a bet. Deputy Rhodes stepped out, took one look at the scene, and sighed like a man who hated paperwork. He separated us, listened to both sides. Then Laura walked up, calm as ever, holding her tablet. Deputy, she said, we have the whole thing on camera. That video showed everything. Claudia laughing at the signs, ignoring the lane, driving into the mud, Marty charging in after her. Rhodes didn't even need a second viewing. He arrested Marty for assault and property damage and handed Claudia a trespassing citation right there. You'd think that'd be the end of it, but no. A week later, we got a letter. HOA meeting. Agenda item: unsafe conditions and hostile behavior by adjacent property owner. Translation: Claudia was trying to paint me as the villain. Laura just smiled. Perfect, she said, tapping our binder full of evidence. Let's give them a show. The clubhouse was packed. Claudia started her speech. Fake tears, trembling voice, the whole performance. She called me a dangerous man who lured her into a mud trap. I sat there quiet, arms crossed. When she finished, Laura stood up and plugged in a projector. Let's take a look together, she said. The wall lit up with video footage. Claudia driving past the signs, laughing, cutting through the field, again and again. Then came the tow truck, the fight, the broken pipe, the deputy's report. The room went dead silent. Finally, one neighbor stood up. Ed, the guy Claudia once fined for having a garden gnome too tall. He said, she fined me $200 for leaving my trash bin out too long. What's the fine for this? That was the spark. One by one, the whole neighborhood started talking, stories about her fines, her threats, her power trips. It was like the air shifted. The board called for an emergency vote. Claudia was out by the end of the night. Her insurance company later denied her claim, said it wasn't an accident, it was intentional off-road trespass. That phrase still makes me smile. We took her and Marty to small claims court and won $7,243.51. A month later, a cashier's check arrived. I used it to fix the irrigation, replace the soil, and install a steel swing gate with a cattle guard. It shuts with this perfect metallic thud that says, don't even think about it. Word spread fast. Claudia sold her house, left town. The pink SUV disappeared, replaced by quiet evenings and the sound of wind through new corn. Sometimes I walk that line at sunset, just me, the fence, and the soft hum of the field. I think about how far I was willing to go, how close I came to losing my temper completely. But in the end, it wasn't anger that saved me. It was proof, patience, and a woman smart enough to turn fury into paperwork. And you know what? That mud patch healed. The corn came back stronger than ever. So here's my question for you. If someone kept crossing your line, laughing at your boundaries, and the law said you couldn't block them, would you find your own way to make them stop? Tell me in the comments. Was I right to fight back the way I did? Or did I take it too far? Because out here, a good fence doesn't just keep people out. It lets you rest easy on your own side.